Hello, hello, and welcome to another thrilling episode of Prog Review. A couple of people have asked me about this, and I did mention it on the live stream a while back when it first dropped. But we're going to talk about, because hey, why not? We're going to talk about Phil Collins and his drummer first thing on the Drumeo YouTube channel. It's a 2-hour documentary slash interview thing. Mind you, there is a separate interview as well, which you can catch, which is 44 minutes long on the same channel. And again, it's been kind of put together by Phil Collins and his son and another producer. And yeah, what to say about it? Again, if you're a Phil Collins fan, you may want to switch off now. I don't know why I warn them, because they're all masochists and they all want to just use this opportunity to have a go. I watched it, I didn't enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it because unfortunately Phil Collins isn't in the best of health, and this was done about 2 years ago, shortly after the last Genesis concert, and you can see this is a man whose health is in decline. So there's that aspect to it. And then there's the fact that no actual examples of Phil Collins's material or Genesis material is used in the video. Now, this could be... There are two reasons to this. The main reason is copyright. Now, you think of Phil Collins, someone of Phil Collins' stature, that they could get copyright clearance for these clips to be used. But there's another reason, because they want Nick Collins to demonstrate the songs on behalf of his father. Now, again, this is not a slight on Nick Collins. I think he's a very capable drummer. He did a very good job with Genesis, and I'm not having a go. But when they say, imagine they're talking, and he goes, "And do you remember, this song from this time?" And then he goes, "Oh, I remember." And Phil Collins tells an anecdote or whatever, tells a story, and then it cuts to Nick Collins playing it. But it doesn't sound like Phil Collins. It sounds like somebody trying to do Phil Collins, and it just kind of irritated me. I didn't like it. It just really dragged me out of the whole thing. So you've got this 2-hour thing, and I don't know why I watched the whole 2 hours. I should have really switched off, but I was hoping for some sort of, I don't know, illuminating moment in it. And again, a lot of the stuff I'd heard before, and like I said, Phil Collins, you wonder if he's actually there, because of his condition. He does come across as like, old Uncle Gerald in the old folks home, who starts ranting and raving about the Second World War. It's like that. Oh, I remember. There's a bit of that to it. So I have found it very difficult to watch, because, it's the same way I found the Genesis reunion difficult to watch, because this is not a good thing for me. If it works for you, that's great. I just find it troubling, because it kind of diminishes a memory, doesn't it? It's like seeing a loved one who's passed. Never see your loved ones when they're dead, because it really damages your memory. I've seen too many. So it's a bit like that. I understand why they've done it. Again, Nick Collins wants his father's legacy to be remembered and to be honoured, and I get that. But it didn't work for me. And again, I think maybe if they'd have got him in better nick, in better condition, it would have worked. And also switching to Nick Collins every day. Again, I'm not slating him as a drummer. I think he's very capable. I think he's good at what he does. But it shows you the difference between Nick Collins and Phil Collins, and that you can't reproduce that magic. That's all it does. It shows you the short failings of trying to do that. So that magic is gone. So that's it. And that's my problem with it. And if you enjoyed it, good for you. I just found it a little bit, and it was 2 hours long. It was too long. And again, I don't think there was any great kind of revelation or anything new in it that we hadn't heard before, because Phil Collins has told his story many times, and he's got the Not Yet Dead book. I'm pointing to my bookshelf figuratively. He's got that book, so his story has been told, and there's not any new, there's nothing new that's going to come out of this, so it's a bit of a puff piece in that respect. And it's not like they could even use like old clips of him, in his prime, because I guess copyright. So you have this. I don't know if they do that with other profiles. They get Nick Collins to and it's just, I didn't get it. So that's my opinion of it. Should you watch it? Yeah, why not? If you've got 2 hours and you don't mind wasting 2 hours, feel free. It wasn't for me. And again, it's just a real shame, because again, Phil Collins was such a dynamic player and person, a personality from the 80s and 90s, who seemed to be, ubiquitous, who seemed to be everywhere, who seemed to have boundless energy, and now here we are. And that's the thing, and that's why I find it very hard to look at this. He's not like one of those old duffers who's still going strong. It's not like that. It's not like that. It's somebody who's in decline, and I think I don't know what to think. You very rarely get to see that with musicians or celebrities. Usually they're pretty still on top of their game, and I think it's unusual. If you think about all those rock stars, whether it's the Mick Jaggers of this world, those ones with great longevity. I mean, even his contemporaries, even like Peter Gabriel or Steve Hackett, very active. The industry and doing all the things he's done has been very cruel to Phil Collins, and has damaged his body and his self-professed drink problem has damaged him to a point where, you can see the damage. And I don't think you really get that with musicians or rock stars. Like, you usually see them in their heyday, or they're still very much compos mentis and physically fit. I'm not saying he isn't compos mentis. I mean, he's just very physically drained. And like it's a bit where he's getting behind the drum kit. It's like I don't even know how to hold a drumstick anymore. It's like getting your great uncle Colin, who used to dig holes in the road to pick up a shovel at 90 and go on, Colin, dig a hole for us. I haven't held a shovel in nearly 40 years. It's like that. It's not really, but I'm just saying it for comedic effect. So you can all say, oh, Darren, you're just being cruel and mean. No, I'm not. I just think it's a great shame. I feel great sympathy, and it pains me to see Phil Collins like this. Like I said, as somebody, when I was growing up, he seemed to be everywhere, and big Genesis fan. He says, show your credentials, and I just find it difficult to watch him now, and that's what I'm expressing. And that is no slight on the people that made this, or Nick Collins, or Phil Collins or himself. I want him to be better. I want him to be, I want them to restore him, and it's just a great shame. And that's it. Yeah, we should celebrate him, but I think there are better ways of doing it. I think there is a documentary there, but hey, maybe you don't actually tell the story. Look at with Phil Collins. Look at how they did it with Bowie. Look at the Bowie movie that they made after he passed. Bowie tells his own story via old interviews, and I think that's what I need to do with Collins. Is I need to do something like that and just show how he was everywhere all at once back in the 80s, and how big his influence is, but maybe keep the man himself out of it, because you want the glory days. And that's my opinion. Oh, it's not worth anything. It's just the same as yours. We all have opinions. They're all equal. And that's what this is. This is an opinion piece. It's not factual. It's just an opinion. Do not get upset by it. Try and understand the position of empathy that I'm coming from. And that's the review. Thank you for watching. That was what was it? It was Phil Collins, drummer first, because that's how he sees himself. He's not the Artful Dodger. He was a drummer first. He didn't appear in Calamity the Cow. No, he's a drummer first. He was always a drummer. And those other things are just things that happen to him. Go and watch. There's a film called Frauds with Hugo Weaving in from The Matrix, among other things, and Lord of the Rings. Go and watch that. That's a really good film with Phil Collins in, and he plays an insurance investigator, and I really like it. Much better than Buster. Go and watch that. That's my tip. It's an often forgotten 90s movie that he appeared in. So go and check that one out. And that was the review. Thank you for watching. There's only one more thing left to say, and that is prog on.